Hello, I'm here today with Faye Dyer, the Managing Director of the ACC Liverpool Group, and to talk about really their social value impact plan. It's a way of looking at business sphere of influence, I think, isn't it, Faye? And formulating sort of a strategy around it. But can you give us a little bit of a background, please, on why you created it?
Yeah, certainly. Hi, Heather. So as an organisation, we've always been really strong on CSR, and our CSR plan is something that we've developed since opening back in 2008. But as a board and as a senior team, we felt quite passionately that we wanted to move away from corporate CSR to more of a social value-led business, where social value was very much at the heart of the organisation. And whilst I guess sustainability and green credentials has always been something that the organisation was very strong on, we felt that it was equally important that we looked at things like the impact that we have upon our community and our people. So we've created a social value impact plan that looks at those wider themes as well as sustainability matters.
And that's quite interesting, isn't it? And I think that there probably isn't something bespoke, not bespoke, there's something that you can just take off from someone else as a framework, is there? I think you actually sort of almost did it like an a la carte menu, didn't you? And took little bits out of different plans. How difficult was it to decide what you were going to include and maybe what you were going to leave out at this stage?
Yeah, great question. So there are some really good frameworks out there. So things like the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, things like the Sustainable Cities Index, and they're all really good points of reference. But we wanted to create something that was more bespoke to make sure that it was really focused on, what would have the most impact to our community. So we cherry picked, as you say, the best from, global examples from within the industry. And we've come up with what's a very specific, very measurable set of objectives for 2022 that sit across 5 key areas. So they cover people, community, sustainability, environment and climate action, procurement with purpose, and then last but certainly not least, the impact that we can have upon the event industry. So we looked at, say, best practice out there and combined a few different things to come up with something that's quite unique and bespoke to ourselves.
It sounds brilliant, and you say it's measurable as well, and that's so important, isn't it? What sort of measures are you going to be able to use against that?
Yeah, so we've published what are some very transparent, very smart objectives for 2022, and committed to say that we'll come back and report how we've done against those objectives. So just to give you a couple of examples, Heather, so within environmental, for example, we are investing a substantial amount of money to move all of our venues across LED lighting. We are committing to achieve ISO 50001, which is event management, energy management ISO. We are committed as well to things like looking at some super low carbon events. So very sort of measurable things. We've also made some very clear commitments with regards to things like diversity and inclusion, not just within our people, but also within our event programming. And we're within our purposeful procurement section, it's very much around how we will start to build social value, and social value that means something to our communities, much more into our procurement moving forwards. So very smart objectives that are there that people can read about on our website, on our social media sites, and that we're committing to report back against, because, one words are great, but actions are better. And so we really want to start to make measurable progress now as an organisation.
Fabulous. And how have you got your teams involved? Because it literally is, when I read through, you're going from your training and development and employing apprentices to charity involvement and getting your teams involved in charities, to procurement, to sort of energy management, facilities management. You will have had to get everybody sort of committed to this, along with everything else that they're doing in their day jobs and just getting back up and running after COVID. How have you managed to sort of make it part of the culture? I think it was almost like it felt to me like it was a piece of rock with social value sort of written through the middle. How have you managed to sort of instill that in your teams?
I think it's already part of our organisational culture, because our identity as a business is to be a sustainable business that's passionate about doing the right things. And who we recruit and how we treat people has always been a really key thread at the ACC Liverpool Group. In creating our social value impact plan for 2022, we've been through a lot of staff engagement, so very much sort of grassroots level, to make sure that these are things that are owned and that as a team we all feel passionate about delivering. What we're hoping to then do is we start to create some objectives moving forwards for 23, is to really engage much more wider than just within the organisation. So one of the things that we've committed to this year, and we've just agreed terms of reference for, is to set up a community advisory group, so that we're not just we've come up with some more obvious things, let's say, for 2022, but for 23 we want to step it up again and come up with some more challenging objectives. So how we engage and how we actively listen to our communities and setting that is going to be really important for us all.
And it very much felt to me like it was for Liverpool in the wider sense, not just for you as an organisation. Is that true to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as an industry, aren't we, we're all very much focused on the economic impact our events have, but increasingly so we want to move the conversation to thinking about the social and the environmental positive impacts that your business can have. And we are, we have a huge ripple effect, as I think of it, on the wider community, and that's so important to us and something that we really want to keep focused on. So this is very much around what we as an organisation can bring on a wider scale.
And I figured that, it was sort of the economic, the social, the environmental, all in balance. And then also really, I suppose, coming back to it being for the events community, it's the legacy, isn't it? So, whether that's decreasing their carbon emissions by coming to you, or by some of the sort of maybe how they can get involved with local communities and local projects and things whilst they've got events with you. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. I think our social value impact plan hopefully will be of great interest to our clients and potential clients, because legacy is very much something that our organisers as well are starting to think about. So a couple of things that I hope will be key. I mean, that our clients will be able to see how important social value is to ourselves, and I hope and expect that align to some of our clients' values and their objectives. That, secondly, as an organisation, we're absolutely here and we're ready and able to support clients with delivering their objectives around social value. And because we are now very well connected in with, be it educational establishments, be it social enterprise establishments in the local community, when organisers bring the events into Liverpool, we can make sure that it's having maximum impact and that it's really leaving that legacy, and arguably helping with the levelling up agenda as well. And I guess, thirdly, for me, it's about, we can all as individuals have a smaller impact, can't we, on these really important societal issues. But if we work together with our clients and our organisers, then I think we can have a much bigger impact and really focus on, minimising the impact that events have on our planet, but maximising the positive impacts that they have on our people, not just within our organisations, but outside as well.
That's it. And I think it is together everyone achieves more, isn't it? So the more people you can get involved, every little step then has a sort of a multiplier effect, doesn't it? So that's interesting. And as a region, I'm sure that people will be looking at this and for the levelling up. And I mean, will you be sharing any of your, so, you're sort of on a journey with this, aren't you? Will you be sharing some of those sort of challenges and opportunities to the wider events industry as well?
Absolutely, very, very happy to share our learnings as we get through the year. I mean, one of the things that we've included in our social value impact plan is our previous successes. Because I think there's lots of things that, sometimes we don't all shout out enough about what we've done well. So I've included our previous successes in there. But yeah, we've committed very much to say we're here, come and talk to us. We'll happily share learnings and share the process that we've been through. But importantly as well, we want to be held accountable. I am a bit of a fan of what gets measured gets done. And therefore, we do want our stakeholders to hold us accountable to delivering against these, but also to help us shape, as I say, what the next stage of the journey looks like, because this is a journey. So 2022 is our first set of objectives, but we're really keen to keep raising the bar and to keep pushing moving forwards.
Fantastic. And are you expecting any challenges, or are you expecting it to be a smooth sail and sat nav's taking you on the journey in the right direction and all will go well?
I think we're an ambitious bunch. So I think our objectives are quite ambitious, although realistic, but we do recognise, you know, as an industry and as a company, we're still in recovery mode. And therefore we're going to have to keep agile, no doubt, along that recovery journey. I mean, one of the key pillars that we've put in our plan is around supporting the event industry moving forwards. And so one of the key ways that we've tried to do that, you know, picking up on the point around recovery from the pandemic, is we've recently launched a commission scheme. So we're trying to lead the industry and really help support our clients through the recovery from the pandemic, to say, rather than waiting until the event comes in, we will now pay commission to venue finders or to creative agencies if they bring us a corporate piece of business at the time that piece of business is secured, rather than having to potentially wait several years until that event is held. So again, not just one words, but we're really trying to take positive action, because we recognise, you know, how devastating the pandemic has been to the industry. And when we want to be part of a group of thought leaders, trying to come up with creative and fair solutions moving forwards. So I hope that, again, that's a signal to the events industry that we're trying to show some leadership here, and help everybody recover from the pandemic and be more socially conscious in the way that we operate moving forwards.
It's that whole build back better, isn't it? Come back and, you know, I think we've all had that opportunity, haven't we, to take stock and to think about what we're doing. And, you know, it's almost been a way of saying, okay, now, you know, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, we can change what we do. We've almost been given that permission to change, haven't we? And, you know, it's really positive to see that people are doing that. Brilliant.
We've got a really partnership approach as well, Heather, haven't we? You know, during the pandemic, you know, certainly I'd like to think ACC Liverpool has really partnered with clients, and we just want to keep that partnership approach going moving forwards, where we're working collaboratively really for good.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And I think, you know, involving those sort of sheer volume of stakeholders that you are involving, it shows how important it is, because you've actually really got to come back and prove it to everybody, haven't you? So the more people you get involved, then hopefully the more impact you will have anyway as well. That's brilliant, Faye. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover that I haven't asked about?
No, thank you. Just thank you for your time. And we're here. So I would just encourage people just to reach out to us and have a conversation. We're very happy to share, and we're very keen to collaborate with other people that equally want to be a force for good.
Fabulous. And I look forward to speaking to you again and finding out what actual impacts have come off, and how many of those goals you've achieved. But thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, I look forward to that. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for your time too.